Howdy, welcome back to Dion Talk. In today's video, I am going to do a deal deep dive with April. She is going to talk about a property that has purchased kind of in a time when most people have pulled back from buying properties because so many people are scared with what's going on with the pandemic. April, if we could have you just take a few minutes and tell me a little bit about yourself. What does your portfolio look like now?
My name is April Savoy. I am a mother of two. I have 5, and tomorrow he will be 4, so really small. I am a full-time food inspector for USDA, full-time mom. I have one property. It's a duplex. I just closed a week ago, and
Congratulations.
yeah, exciting, very exciting. Thank you.
How did you find the duplex?
I found it on the MLS.
You have kids, you work full
hmm
time, so you don't have enough
hmm
time to invest, and you found a deal on
Yeah.
the MLS, which you can't find a deal on the MLS. They don't exist, right? But not today. Is this purchased close or at a distance?
So it's 40 minutes from where I currently reside, and we purchased with the idea to house hack it. It's currently rented on both sides, but one side they're expanding, and so they're looking to leave soon. So when they move out, we intend to move in 2 business days after closing. I got a job offer in Michigan that I've been wanting for like a long time. So I quickly called my lender and explained the situation, and they assured me it was no issue at all and that they would send me a pre-approval letter so I could go look at houses in Michigan or duplexes so that I could get another loan.
That's actually something really important for people to understand. You have the intention to own or occupy when you sign the loan documents for an owner occupied property. No one should ever commit fraud with the intent to commit fraud. But situations change. In the military, they get orders to a new duty station. You can have a job offer pop up, or some people can become pregnant and now 1 or 2 bedrooms isn't enough for the size of their family, or some situation change in their life. And so I'm not saying to commit fraud. I want to be crystal clear on that. But there is
Yes,
no
of course
police department that goes around and checks where people live. Really,
not.
what an owner occupied loan is a time delay device. The lenders are more concerned with you getting more than one of those in a year, usually without a major life change. When you get an owner occupied loan, the idea is you can't get another one for 12 months, except in situations like yours where you actually had a life change event like the job. So you found it on the MLS, you purchased it with an owner occupied loan. How much was the property?
The property was listed at 125. Told my realtor that I wanted to offer 112.5. So I calculated quick math. That's 90% of the asking. So which I have been told that if you offer anything lower than 90, it's kind of like a slap in the face. Not that I would be opposed to, because I'm like, give the low ball offers, see what we can get. But so I went out at 90 because I thought, well, it's a good price anyways. And then they countered at 115, and so I accepted.
$10,000
Oh,
off of their asking price by making a low offer. And
right.
so I kind of have a mental equation that I run when I'm looking at making an offer based on asking price, because asking price is just a number that mattered to the seller. And it doesn't really have any bearing in reality because the appraisal is going to be different. How the cash flow would work for you is going to be different. But what I look at is the day the property hits the market is probably not the day to make a 90% offer. If it's been on the market 3 or 5 or 10 days and has 0 offers so far, now you can start looking at making a little bit under offer. If it's been on the market 150 days, then a lot less than 90% of the asking
Low
price
offer.
becomes an option too. You had an inspection done.
Oh, and this property, I had talked with my realtor, and I made sure to have her ask. Nobody had offered on it yet, but because the tenants they have like crazy work schedules, so like they could only have like a short window when someone could go in. And so my realtor went in and took videos and stuff and sent them to me, and I made an offer without even looking at it myself. I just went off by the videos.
You talked about doing a strategy that I do, which is making the offer before you see the property. And you actually had the agent go to the property, take the videos, and send it to you. I
Yes.
find it on the MLS. I do a Google Earth map search to look around to make sure that it's not in the middle of a war zone. At least it wasn't when those pictures were taken.
hmm
But I make the offer. The time to determine if you want a property or not is during the inspection period.
Yes. And you're actually who I got all of that from. I just so happened to hear you on BiggerPockets and listen to your episode like 3 times in a row.
Awesome.
And then I was like, you know what? he can do it, I can do it. I'll just go off the pictures and then I'll show up for the inspection. And if I don't like it, I'll bail then. And so
That
I
was my
went for the
whole goal.
inspection. Yeah.
That was my whole goal getting on BiggerPockets, was to say, look, there's no secret sauce. You don't have to be special. You just find a system that is easy to repeat, and you just keep repeating the process. And so you scheduled a home inspection.
Scheduled a home inspection, and I went, and the inspector was really cool, real down to earth, and we were just, kind of walking the property together. He had done the roof before I got there, and so we were inside and we were checking things out, and I didn't see anything major where, there was like a lot of little things, but I didn't see it was anything major that like I couldn't probably do myself. I'm not very handy, and I don't, but I'm like, okay, paint, I can paint. Okay, clean the gutters, I can jump on a roof and clean gutters. And like the flashing, I'm like, I'll give it a go. If I can't do it, then, okay, I'll find a licensed contractor and pay somebody. So I'm like, all of these things, I'm like, I could take a, good crack at. Within the report, he gave me like a list, and there was, I forget what it's called. There's some form where you can like ask, like click and like specifically say, hey, this is, I don't like this. I want this credited at closing. So I didn't use his form, but I spoke with my realtor, and she was like, well, I like her. She's a really good realtor. But she was like, well, I just, we're getting it at a good price. And I'm like, well, let's ask and see what they say. The worst they can say is no, and I'll still buy the place. But if I can get a couple thousand more off, why not? So we moved forward, and I requested that they take, I think it was like 3,000 off. Oh no, they offered 1,500, and I requested 3,000, and I said, okay. That brought my cash down at how much I had to bring, which really helped me out a lot. This was like my first everything. I didn't know anything. I was just like, like 75% there. Like, I'll just jump in and figure it out when I go, because you don't have to have it all together. And I was kind of scared and nervous, but I was like, the worst thing, like, this will totally be a flop. The next one would have to be better. And so, yeah, I just went for it and was like, hey, it's pretty good. And again, it was my first time. So like, I didn't know what to do. And nobody was like, hey, April, this is what you do. You have to go into the bank to transfer funds. I didn't know. I thought I could do it on the phone on the way there. I was driving to, 45 minutes to Lafayette, nervous and shaking, but I got the keys and took a deep breath.
How did you fund this deal? What kind of loan?
So I put 15% down on a conventional. So I started saving, I think like August or September of last year. I really started like, my cousin's husband gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then, like everybody's like way into it. And then I was like, oh, wow, I could do that. And so I just started like saving half my income, and then just built that up and just, transferred that cash over. And
that book is definitely the gateway drug into financial freedom. It might not have the actionable steps, but it changes the mindset. You did something really well when you were talking to your agent, because an agent's job is to make the sale go through. They want you to be happy so that you use them again in the future. But once you have it under contract, most agents don't want to rock the boat, or most of the agents I've talked to don't want to rock the boat. So when you said we want to ask for these things, these concessions, because you're still in negotiations right up to the point where you close. So when your agent said, oh, we should just leave it alone, you saved money by just asking a question, because you were right. What is the worst thing they could do? They could say no, and you would have bought it anyways. I have done the same thing almost every time. I am under contract for one right now where I asked for money off to fix some small things, and they met me in the middle, which was the amount that I wanted to save. And what interest rate did you get on the duplex?
I got a 3.5, which is higher than what I was quoted from another lender, but that other lender wasn't like, I didn't really mesh well with him.
Okay.
But, and then I also, another thing, this one is only a 6-month seasoning period, whereas the other one was a 12-month seasoning period to like refi or switch the loan. So like if I wanted to do, say something happened and I ended up not moving into that one, or like I found a bigger one, like a 4-plex or something that I wanted to go to, like I could refinance the other one in 6 months and then like go into the other one, like a 4-plex or something.
Good. So you were looking next steps already when you were buying this duplex. Yeah. Right, exactly. Yep. Do you know what the mortgage will be and what those expected rents are?
The mortgage with the taxes and the insurance falls just under $700, and then each side rents for $700, Well, and now they have a pet, and so I put in a pet deposit and extra pet fee. So then it's 725 on the one side.
And do you remember how
And then
much
they
you were
brought
out of pocket?
just it was like 15,000 and a few $100s.
So if you don't take out for CapEx and vacancy, it comes out to like 58%. That's where a lot of new investors kind of make the mistake of thinking, oh, I have all this cash flow. But you have to be setting aside for the water heater to break, the roof to need replaced, all that kind of work. I came up with, if I set aside $200 per unit per month, what your cash flow is, it's about a 26% return on your money. So a percentage that most investors dream of. I'm happy when I get a 10% cash on cash return. During a pandemic, while property values are going up because of the lack of supply and the increased demand, you were able to find a property on the MLS while working full time, while, in your own words, you don't have it all figured out and you're going to jump in and figure it out as you go. It sounds like, though, you did a lot of legwork by watching a lot of BiggerPockets and other
Oh
podcasts
yes.
to get the knowledge, which to me, that's why this community of investors is so important, because YouTube didn't exist, 20, 30 years ago. And there were people investing in the 90s and the 80s that were buying small multifamily houses or building them. And they just either had to figure it out on their own, just like you said, jump in and figure it out. And now with YouTube University, there's really no excuse for people not to have this information.
And so I just kind of pop my AirPods in and I just, listen to podcasts or audiobook. I get on a lot of Zoom calls. I don't this is like my first actual chat. I would just kind of be the fly on the wall and just, scared to say anything or jump in. You do a lot of research and just keep your mind open to a lot of things. And
what do you think your goal is for your next property?
I would like to get into larger multifamily. There's this 8-plex that's over by the high school that I'm really interested in. And I was going to call the guy and then I realized how late it was. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to give him a call and follow up and see if he's ready to sell and possibly do maybe an owner finance on that. That would be really cool. Keep looking at smaller multifamily. I want to get into larger multifamily, but I just feel like I know the confidence isn't there yet.
You're learning skills that you can take into that larger multifamily. Brandon Turner from BiggerPockets talks about the stack. You've got the duplex and maybe the next purchase, and in a couple of years you sell or cash out refinance any equity that you have, and you use that as a down payment for the larger. For me, the barrier is always lending. I'm addicted to 30-year fixed rate, low interest rate loans, where in 5 years I know my interest rate will be the same unless I refinance to a lower one. And that's the concern with 5 units or up, is you end up with commercial loans that are usually often 5-year fixed interest rate, amortized over 20 years, but in 5 years, they're going to renegotiate interest. For the last 5 years, people that have done that have looked smart because interest rates keep going down. But it's kind of a gamble to think that in 5 years, they'll still be where they're at now. Neither one of us know that world, and you can just jump in and figure it out as you go. It's working out for the
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm like, well, I'm just going to jump in and see where I go with one.
You know that there's somebody out there who's thinking there's no way I can do it. I've got kids. The pandemic's going on. Prices are too high. And then the whole point is, and no, please don't be offended, I think we're just regular people and we could totally pull off investing.
Definitely. No. And I feel like, I don't know, because you hear it all the time, oh, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And then I'm in that beginning stage, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm like, no, you just fight with yourself all the time in your head. No, you can't do it, or no, you're going to fail. And a lot of people, their family just doesn't understand. When I started talking to my mom about this stuff, she just at a loss, well, what do you mean you're going to buy a duplex? You're going to be a landlord? You're going to buy it and rent one side and live in one side? It's just, I don't know. And it's weird because she's rented for so long. She just never thought that any of us, I guess, could be on the other side of it. And I guess I never thought of it either. I never thought about ever owning my home and own my own place until last fall. And I just turned 33 last week.
That's awesome, especially when your support group says, I can't believe you're going to do that. That's so risky and you could do all these things. And of course you mentally go, well, I guess I have to quit then, right?
Hmm.
Yes, but not today.
And you went ahead and did it.
That's right.
So awesome. Well, I want to thank you for your time coming on here. If anybody has any questions, how can they get a hold of you?
You can find me on Instagram at Invest in This Life. And then, yeah, and that's it. I mean, I'm on Facebook. Again, April Savoy. We're friends.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, let me know how the next deal goes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you very much for your service. Greatly appreciated. And yeah, this was fun. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.